Today we're going to take apart the radiator on our 1930 Ford Model A Coupe. As you can see, it's looking a little rough. I don't know if you can see in there. But we're going to take it off, take it over to a shop. I believe it's in Westmont or Downers Grove. It's A-Len Automotive. They've fixed some radiators for us in the past, so and they really know their way around the Model A. So we'll take this off. Hopefully it won't be too hard, but if you can see, it's got these square screws, square bit, which is typical of a Canadian A. So we're gonna end up taking, there's 4 screws, 2 on each side, top and bottom, and that'll take the shell off. Once we get this off of here, then we can take the hood off. And then we'll obviously have to disconnect the lights. We'll just twist that off, and then we should be able to find the little plastic connector in there. Chances are it's not spliced together. It's just the little plastic thing that they sell to keep the butt connectors separate. When we're done, we're gonna end up splicing them together correctly so that way we don't have any arcs and we always have headlights. So once we get the shell off and everything off around it, there's, I don't know if you can see in here, there's bolts at the bottom. You gotta take those out too. So that actually holds the radiator to the frame. Besides the obvious taking the hoses off, we're gonna get new hoses. I actually might have some. So there's this hose, and then there's the lower water tube. I don't think you can see it here. It's on the driver's side. So we're just gonna end up cutting these off. We never get rid of the clamps. A lot of times I'll order new clamps just because they're cheap, but it's nice to have the old clamps that were more period specific instead of the repop clamps. So hopefully this won't give us too much trouble, but check it out. All right, whew. Well, that was a workout. Well, there you go. Those last 2, that's where they are. Very precarious place. Not easy to get to. I had to use swivel, extension, regular socket. It just, man, it was not fun. But I remember that from the last one too, so I was kind of expecting it. So we had to take off the horn, take the wires for the lights out. The horn, I just clipped those. I'm not gonna end up having a horn on this anyway, so. And if I can use that horn somewhere else, if it works, great, then I will. But you see, we got these little stabilizers that we had to take off. And obviously the hood was real easy to take off. And then, I mean, these ain't too bad. It's pretty easy. But I gotta straighten that up anyways. It's got a little dent there. But these, I know I said that I saved some of the clamps, or I try and save all the clamps, but these were pretty boogered up from a lot of years of leaking. So they didn't really want to come off of the hoses, so. But here's the radiator. I'm gonna cut that last little bit of hose off, take it over to the shop. Easy peasy, right? Oh, here it is. Just picked it up. They didn't have to do too much work to it besides cleaning the insides, and I said they had to fix a couple things to it, but nothing crazy. Said it was in good shape and got a couple years left out of her. They always clean the outsides and paint them too, so looks a lot better than when we brought it in, that's for sure. So if you got anything you're in the Chicago area or anything, as far as radiators go, A-Line Automotive in Westmont, place to go. All right, so now that we got our motor all painted up and everything cleaned up under here, we're gonna go ahead and put the radiator back on. We got it back from A-Line Automotive in, I believe it's Downers Grove or Westmont. They checked it out, cleaned it out, ended up repainting it for us. So we'll go ahead and throw that back on, and then after that we'll do the hoses. Start with our lower hose, or lower tube, lower water tube. This is a little trick that I saw from another older gentleman that is a Model A guy. So I'm just going to incorporate it into my video. I don't know his name, but he knows a lot about them. So we're going to go ahead and slide what will be the top one on. Okay. Scoop this up. And remember what we said before, put the clamps where you can actually loosen and tighten them if you need to. So this will be in the car like so. Now if the hose clamp was turned that way or on the back side of it, it really doesn't do me any good if I got to take this hose off. So here's our shut off. This is the way it's going to go into the car. So I'm going to have my hose clamps facing up so that way I can get to them. Just a little thing that you don't think about while you're doing it, and then all of a sudden you got to change something out, and it's not that easy. So we'll tighten this guy down without stabbing my hand. Again. Okay, so we got that one on. Now what we're going to do is, I had taken this lower elbow, or the elbow off of the motor. Okay, and this is the part that I stole from this other fella. So I'm going to put this in on the workbench, and then I'll get my other hose on. So that way all I got to do is just slide it on the bottom of the radiator, line up the bolt holes, and we're in business. A lot easier this way. I'm glad I saw it. And hopefully maybe it'll help somebody else out a little bit down the road. That's what it's all about. It's sharing information, consolidating information, putting it all together, and get what you can from it. So slide this guy on here. Just try and keep our red line symmetrical. Not really necessary, but it is in my mind. Again, it's just one of those little things that if you pay attention to, if you look at other cars, the guys who really put a lot of effort into it, that's what they do. And that's what I like to do. Shows a little pride in your vehicle. No matter if it's a rat rod, hot rod, cruiser, whatever. Everything neat. Alright, so we'll go ahead, move over to the car. And we'll put this on. Sorry for the bad angle there. Got my hands full. Okay. Try and get this into a good spot for you to see. Waiting on going up here with it. Let's see. see if I can see it better here. Oh, yeah. No, blocked a little bit by the generator, but you get the point. So, slide our bottom hose clamp on. All we gotta do is just slide this on the bottom of the radiator. See how easy that was? A lot easier than fighting with this thing, trying to get this pipe in there. It's never an easy task. So let me go get the bolts for that so I can hold it up. Alright, get these bolts in there. I'm just Mr. Fumble Thumbs today. Yeah, that was so much easier. I've done it a couple times on these cars and it's just a wrestling match and a half. I'll get that. There we go. And no, it's not hitting the hose clamp. I just looked. Not hitting that. So we're good. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up this other bottom clamp. And then we'll be in business. Other things to check while you're going through your cooling system, your packing up in here and your water pump. A lot of times those go bad, so you'll see some drips. So that's real easy to repack. It's just taking the nut off of the water pump there, sliding it out and putting new packing in there. So this is where I was talking about right here. So we already had the top hose on. We were doing some other things, so I wanted to get that all buttoned up. So, but that's that. That's changing out your hoses and dealing with the radiator and all that fun stuff. So the hardest part about this is probably getting the radiator out, especially if you have your fenders on and you know all that stuff. It is kind of a nightmare, but it was a little easier getting everything tightened up without any fenders on there. So hopefully you learned something with this little trick. If I remember, or if I find out what the guy's name is, I'll mention it in the next one. But thanks for watching. Click subscribe and follow us on Facebook, Keepinemclassic Garage 777. Our Instagram is @Keepinemclassic. And you can visit our website. It's www.keepinemclassicgarage.com. Leave some comments below, click subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.